Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, and freaks of nature of all ages. My name is Reverend Brian Bad Hippie Jackson, and welcome to my channel. Okay, first off, apologies for having to deal with my skinny ass shirtless self, but it is already hotter than a snake's belly in a wagon rut here, and I don't have AC in this camper, and to be able to do a video without the fan just overpowering everything that I'm saying, I have to turn that off. So I'll turn the fan back on after I get doing this, but it is too damn hot for me to actually be wearing clothing. Uh, I do have pants on, so don't worry. That's all I have on is shorts, but you got to do what you got to do because it's freaking hot. Okay, so welcome to the first video in my DIY life hack series. And today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you how to make your own nut butters. All nut butters can pretty much be made the same way. And I think, throughout the coming weeks, we're going to make several kinds of nut butter. But today we're going to make my favorite kind of nut butter, and that is pistachio butter. What we're going to be using is I've got a nice big bag of in-the-shell pistachios. I always buy them in the shell because in the shell is less expensive than already shelled. They basically charge you for taking them out of the shell. So I always buy it in the shell and shell them myself. The only thing you're going to need to make any kind of nut butter, peanut butter, almond butter, hazelnut butter, pistachio butter, whatever kind of nut butter you want, is a blender or some sort of food processor like a Cuisinart, and whatever kind of nuts you want to use. That's it. You don't need anything else. It is a very, very simple process. It is incredibly easy to do. It does not create a big mess. The cleanup is pretty damn easy, and it is a lot more cost effective than buying pre-made butters, especially when you get those rare nut butters like pistachio butter. First of all, pistachio butter is hella hard to find. And when you do find it, it is hella expensive. It is much more cost effective just to go ahead and buy a bag of pistachios and make the pistachio butter yourself. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off. I'm going to go grab my camcorder, and we're going to head over to the kitchen area here in the camper. I'm going to pull down my Cuisinart food processor, and I'm going to show you how to make pistachio butter. All right, and here's the table with everything that we need. Okay, what we got right there is in the shell pistachios, which is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to maybe making pistachio butter, and that is my food processor that we're going to be making the pistachio butter with. In the coming weeks, we are also going to be making almond butter. This is a dried fruit and nut mix that has apples, cranberries, raisins, and walnuts in it. So we are going to be making that into a nut fruit spread. And then here we have dried pitted plums, which we will eventually be making into a plum spread. And back in here, and in those boxes there, I have several cans of pitted cherries, which we are going to be making into a cherry spread. So the things that we're going to need to make our butter today is, of course, our in-the-shell pistachios, a couple of little bowls, one to put the pistachio nuts in, one to put the empty shells in, and then, of course, we're going to be needing our food processor to make the butter, and finally, we're going to need a couple of rubber spatulas to be able to get all of our yummy pistachio butter out of there. Now, the first step in the parade is to open up the pistachios and get them shelled. And then after we get them shelled, we're going to put them in the food processor and we're going to make our pistachio butter. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down and set this bad boy on time lapse and just go ahead and show you the whole process.
Okay, so before we get too far into the shelling process, there's a couple of things I want to make you aware of here. One of those things, let me stand up so I can see it better, is when you're shelling your pistachios, the inner nut has this kind of skin on it. It's a dry skin, and it's a really flaky thing. Sometimes it's in big pieces, sometimes it's not so much, so you can see all that right there. That really is not going to help the taste of your nut butter at all. I'm not sure how many nuts actually have that flaky shit in it, but pistachios absolutely do. So before you drop it in the Cuisinart, I mean, it's not harmful, it won't hurt you in the least, but to me it negatively affects the taste of the nut butter, and I think it just comes out better if I take the little bit of extra time to go through every once in a while and pull this stuff out so I don't have a whole bunch of it in there. Alright, so that's just a recommendation. It's not something you have to do, but in my opinion your nut butter is going to come out much better if you take the time to do that. Also, just be aware that I hardly ever use the full bag because I eat quite a few of them while I'm shelling them. Now the other thing you need to be aware of is once you get moving quick, oh, there's one right there already. Mistakes will be made, and you're likely to drop some pistachios into your shells. So every once in a while, just stop and go through your shells and see if you've dropped any pistachios into your shells so that you're not wasting any. It looks like I've been doing pretty good so far. So I'm just going to go ahead and shut the camcorder down for a little bit and finish shelling these, because there's no sense in you sitting here and looking at a 10-minute time lapse of me shelling pistachios. We already know how that's done. Okay, so here we go. Now, as you can see, we got about half of the pistachios, probably closer to 2/3 of the pistachios shelled, and we're going to put the rest of them that are unshelled still in this little thing right here. We're going to lid it right there, and then we're going to go put it in this non-functioning refrigerator storage unit of mine because it doesn't work. Blank right there, and we'll use them later. Now what we're going to use them later for is when we make the almond butter, we're going to separate the almonds out the same way. So we'll have a can of pistachio butter, we'll have a jar of almond butter, and then we're going to mix the other together and we're going to make a jar of pistachio almond butter. Alright, so there's our pistachios ready to go in the food processor. These, let's move this we'll just put into the dishwater and let it soak. These shells, now if I was out in the wild and on a homestead, I would not throw these away. What I would do instead is put them in the compost bin and then use them in the garden for compost. Recycle, shit, now we got to clean that up. Anyways, recycle, reuse, rejuvenate, save money. People do not, a living wage is almost an unheard of thing. It's difficult as shit to make ends meet as it is. Save as much money as you can. Oh. Let's eat this one. Save as much money as you can. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and set the camera back up over there, and I will explain the process of getting started, and then I'll do the rest in time lapse. Okay, so the way we do this is pretty simple. You just take the lid off your food processor. If you have a blender, you can use that. Anything that's got a good chopping blade in it that moves really fucking fast, you can use to make nut butters, okay? So we're going to take the lid off. We don't need the cheese grater part on it. so we're just going to set it off to the side. It's not going to be used. This is the part that we're using. It's our cutting blade, and it's going to work just fine. I've done this several times. This will work. So we put that on there. We take our pistachios. We pour them in, and we make sure they're semi-even. All right? Now, I'm not sure how much this is going to make. I never really paid a whole lot of attention to volume when I was making it before. I just wanted to make it. Okay, so we close it up like that. And then I'm just going to show you real quick our basic process. All right? This is going to be loud, but it's also going to be cool. Hold that down. Just make sure that this will keep shit. If you've got a food processor, you want your measuring cup thing, and it is a measuring cup, but you want it to stay in the lid because it's going to keep your shit from shooting out the top. All right? Make sure that, now this has a safety. If the safety is not latched, the processor will not operate. If the safety is latched, you don't have to turn it on high. If you want to, you can. It's really not going to make a big difference. All you're wanting to do is just butter them up. So you let it run for a couple of seconds or minutes or what the hell ever. And what you're going to see is down at the bottom, it's going to start to solidify a little bit. Okay? I don't know if you can see that there. So you just let it keep running until you start getting a bit of a layer at the bottom. Then you shut it down, pull your lid, take one of your rubber spatulas and go around these edges and knock everything back down and make sure it is nice and leveled out. And then you lid it again and repeat the process. And you simply repeat that process until you have the consistency of the nut butter you want. I never make my nut butters completely smooth. My nut butters are always a little bit gritty because I like that texture. I prefer chunky peanut butter and chunky pistachio butter, but I don't have enough teeth to be able to eat the chunky butters properly. So I do kind of a mix. Instead of making it completely smooth, knowing that I can't eat the chunkies right, instead of making it completely smooth, I blend it down into something that's in between so it's still got a good gritty texture to it. I just like that taste better. If you want to blend it down completely smooth, then blend it down completely smooth. If you want chunky butter, then what you're going to do is separate out a few of those pistachios, stick them in there, and just hit the pulse a couple of times, and just blend them down enough that you've got pistachio chunks. Then you pour those out into a different cup, set them aside, make the rest of your pistachio butter, and then once your butter comes out, you take the chunks, dump it back into the butter, and mix it up, and now you've got chunky pistachio butter. You can do the same thing with peanuts, almonds, hazelnuts, any kind of nut you want to make your butter out of. You can make smooth butter, you can make chunky butter, you can make the gritty butter that I like, that's an in-between the smooth and the chunky. So now I'm going to go ahead and reset the time lapse, and we're going to finish making this pistachio butter. And we're almost done. We are almost finished already. I'm going to scrape down this lid. I'm going to scrape down the inside there one more time and give it one last spin, and then we will have pistachio butter. In all honesty, the longest, hardest, and most time-consuming part of this whole process is shelling the pistachios. it took me longer to shell the pistachios than it did to turn it into butter. This time lapse, it's taken me less than 20 minutes. I'm guessing, I haven't been keeping track, but I'm guessing it's taken me about 10 to 15 minutes to do this. That's it, that's all. So we're gonna pull these blades out one last time. We're gonna give it one more wing, and then we're gonna put it in the frosting jar. That's right, I said frosting jar. That's what we're gonna put it in. This is an old cake frosting jar. And when I got done with the cake frosting, I washed the jar, and this is what I put my nut butters in. The other thing I put nut butters in is these little Tupperware things. They're not actually Tupperware, but these I get at the dollar store, and they come in sets. And so I bought like 3 sets, and so I have several. There's one size smaller as well, and I use these small sizes for nut butters and fruit spreads. So let's go ahead and pull the blade out one last time, and I'll let you see what the consistency is right now. Ooh, see? There's my nut butter, and it is, oh, yum. Oh, now it's warm, but of course that's because friction. Another great thing about nut butters is they don't have to be refrigerated. Nut butters can be kept at room temperature and even higher for a very long time without having to worry about them going bad. Refrigeration is not necessary. So we're going to scrape down these walls, give it one last whiz. The biggest thing we're wanting to do is get it off the bottom. That's one of the main things we do when we do our wall scrapes, is we're also doing a bottom scrape. We want to get it off the bottom so that we can make sure that everything on that bottom is going to get blended up properly with those blades. The blades only go down so far, so you have to make sure that the stuff that gets settled under the blade is moved around and comes above the blade so that it all blends consistently. And this is actually, I could probably just go ahead and do it just like it is right now. But I'll go ahead and give it one more wing anyways, because I said I would. There we go. Let's clean this spatula off. Set the blades back in. And the easiest way to clean off a spatula is that. Oh my God, that tastes so fucking good. Oh, I love pistachio butter. That's fucking delicious. Oh my God. Yep, we're gonna make a pistachio butter sandwich as soon as this is done. Damn Skippy. Haha, pun intended. Haha. That's gonna do it. That's all we need right there. It is done. That is pistachio butter, my man. Woo! Oh my God, it looks so good. It does taste good too. And it's a bit more creamy than the last batch was. Make sure I get everything out of here. Doo-doo-doo. I don't want to waste a single fucking drop. All right, there we go. Now we're gonna take these, and I'm going to drop them over here in the sink. Not a whole lot on this blade, so that's not going to be a big issue. Unhook that. Unplug that. Take that off. Right. Woo! Oh my God, don't that look good? Oh my God. Yes, yes. Oh, this shit's so good. Oh, look at it. It looks like big green snot. I love it. Yeah. It's like a woodland green, brown green, drippy nut booger. And it's awesome. I'm usually not a very greedy person, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, I am a greedy motherfucker because I love this shit. Just absolutely fucking love it. We're gonna call that good. Nectar of the gods. All right, let's get some plate and a bread. And there we go. Fresh, homemade, hand blended pistachio butter. Yum, 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 yum. And from start to finish, that includes shelling it, the whole 9 yards, it took me less than an hour. If I had had pre-shelled pistachios, the whole process would have taken less than half an hour. I can literally make a jar of pistachio butter in less time than it takes me to go to the store and buy a jar of peanut butter. And now it's lunchtime. Oh my God. Oh my God, that is so fucking good. Oh, delicious. Fuck, I love this stuff. Thank you for tuning in. It's polite, or it's impolite to talk with your mouth full, but I don't think I give a fuck right now because it's just too damn good. Thank you very much. Please do not forget to check the links in the description below for the Disabled American Veterans and the Wounded Warriors Project. Let's please help support our veterans. Nom 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 nom. If you liked the video, then hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And tell your friends and family to hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come hang out with me. I love and appreciate every one of you, especially those of you who have been with me and supported me all these years. I want to give a special loud shout out to Heemscast Gaming. Heems is an awesome motherfucker. Me and Heems started YouTube at about the same time. He was one of my very first subscribers. I was one of his very first subscribers. We have been supporting each other for the last 5 years, faithfully, no questions asked, unequivocally. He has an excellent gaming channel. He has always supported me, and I will always support him. Go check him out. If you like video games and live streams, go check out Heemscast Gaming. He is an awesome fucking dude. Heems, you fucking rock, man. All right? Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Reverend Brian Bad Hippie Jackson saying peace, love, clean underwear, and happy whatever the fuck makes you happy. Peace.